Ding, ding, ding. Okay, so I'm gonna ask for your all's help today. It's gonna be put it. I'm gonna have you putting stuff in the comments as much as you're willing to here, right? Uh, God. Whew. Okay, so if we take the actual definition of words and not the assumed, assigned barnacle of trash that we don't really find useful, we can really clarify some things. It's a really good place to just dump off excess data. So let's take the basics of where the Buddhists and Hindu call karma and dharma, and let's wash them down to the words that they actually translate to. Uh, so, karma in itself is a word, just a word. It just literally translates to action, to move. Karma, to move. Okay? To move. Now, as you know, when you move, it tends to create a few ripples. There are things we assume are consequences, good, bad, or indifferent, that we imagined up as a result of the move we made. Dealing with those ripples, or amplifying those ripples, or whatever magical woo-woo you want to add to that, is where we get into dharma, meaning I move this way, it does a specific thing. My job then is to follow the thing I moved. I move, I follow the motion. To give a practical example of this is pretty simple, right? I accept a job, any job, doesn't matter what job. There's a list of requirements to meet the bare minimum of that job in order to maintain employment. That's the dharma. The action was accepting the job. The dharma is to do my best at what is described for that job. Take it in a very literal sense for those of us who tend to do menial labor a lot. I took a job as a janitor. My dharma is to scrub the toilet. I took a job as a stocker in a grocery store. My dharma is to put cans on shelves. Action, writer. Dharma, writing. Action. Imagine dharma, cross the bridge. I understand the temptation to complicate these things, and in America especially, but in the West in general, we have this intense need to add meaning to so many things. And I'm going to tell you, what are you assigning to it? Because that's going to be where we differ on our opinion of it. Karma is an amazing thing, no matter what the end result is. Because I've chosen to do this. My dharma is that I feel the need to make this video to meet the end of that action. Take all the extra weight off of it. Karma, move. Dharma, fulfill the action I move towards. And those of you who study Vedanta and other forms of Hinduism, and those of you that study Buddhism, you're going to tell me how wrong I am because I oversimplified it, and I'm going to tell you, try it. Take all the extra off. Shape it down to its bare minimum root. Karma, action. Dharma, final result of the full range of actions related to the initial. I'm going to simplify it to my day to day. I wanted to drink sweet tea. Sweet tea. What's happening to the jug? The dharma is I have to consume that sweet tea because the action was I have sweet tea. The karma was I have sweet tea. The dharma is now I must consume the sweet tea. Why do we have to add so much extra to it? Karma, dharma, karma, dharma. Move first, and then watch yourself move through. So let's take this to states of consciousness. Whether you're ready or not, here we go. I choose a state and I move into it. That's my action. I choose a state and I move into it. That's my action. The dharma is I get to be curious now how that state unfolds in my experience. This is where now reincarnation comes in, right? I had to die to the old experience. That me is gone. The dharma there now is that this time, this new life I chose has to unfold in usually the most natural way. Sometimes it comes off completely miraculous, and until you realize the miraculous in the mundane, oftentimes you'll say, well, that would have happened anyway. And you're right. Anyone who entered that state would have made that happen anyway. And you're also less than right in that the person who that happened to had to move into that state for it to happen anyway. We slip in and out of states constantly, all day long. You let dead things die. You let new things come to life, and sometimes they seem bad. Sometimes we call it a negative experience or negative emotion. There it is. That's the gist of negative karma. Is it's not negative karma. It's I fell into or chose a state. It might even be my dwelling place. It might be the shit state I'm stuck in. Don't care. Doesn't matter. My job is to be indifferent to that and let the dead bury the dead. My next job is to move into a state. That's my karma, my action. I move to the new state. The dharma. Now I must do what's in that state. Okay? I have a state this morning of a Milo's sweet tea drinker. Right? Milo's sweet tea drinker. So naturally, the dharma is I had to buy a jug, and now I have to consume it. The free will ended when I chose to be a Milo's sweet tea drinker today. I feel like I ultimately get to give you that gift wrapped up in the obvious, right? So I could sit here and read you Neville stuff, but there's plenty of people who do that, and they do wonderful, wonderful jobs, right? There's plenty of people who give you all kinds of meditation and affirmation and wonderful advice in those areas. I don't know why we would still insist. It took me 6 years, right? So I know you're going to go through that phase. It took me 6 years to completely break free of that because I took my time about it. And I data drove it to death. And in that process, I used the law freely, repetitively, to be homeless, to hitchhike across the country, to wander aimlessly and seemingly lost, to not be able to find a purpose. Oh God, I needed a purpose so badly, Jesus. Yeah, no, that's it, guys. So, what do we cover today? Karma is only action. The only action you can actually take is to change a state. Dharma is the realization of that action and the further actions and reactions based on the action of moving into that state. Reincarnation. I died this morning to guy who didn't have tea to become guy who has tea. So I had then, of course, to buy the tea. And I have to now consume the tea. That's how this works. I don't know how to make it any more simple than that. So I was wrong about how I was going to have you guys. But put in the comments, what do you understand of karma? And where does things like karma is a bitch come into play here? Because what I'm seeing is karma is only the action of me choosing a state. And if my life becomes a bitch to me, or I become a bitch to other people, that's the state. That's it. just the state. All right. See ya. Love ya. I'll be back.